And hello and welcome to Gwinnett Business Radio and Business RadioX. The name of the show is Driven by Subaru, and it's brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. And we're broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio. What do you know? Subaru of Gwinnett's everywhere. Mike Salmon with you, and we're joined by Jennifer Kessler. She is the General Sales Manager for Subaru of Gwinnett. And also joining us today, she's making another appearance, is Taylor Spacuzzi. She's the Digital Marketing Manager. Jennifer, let me start with you real quick as we talk about Subaru. Well, actually, before we get into this news that you're telling me about that's going to blow our listeners away, because you're blowing me away the way from what I heard, Driven by Subaru, that's what we're going to call the show. Why do you like that name? Why did we land on Driven by Subaru as we do this series?
Well, I think it's a cool segue into all the things we're going to talk about throughout the year as we come on here. I think for one thing, most of the people who are a part of our culture are just driven. They're driven people. Also, I just like to know what drives people. So I was thinking as we go across this journey with you guys every month on our podcast, we talk about different things that drive our guests, that drive our listeners, what motivates people. I think that's just a really interesting thing to know about people is what drives them and what makes them tick.
It covers everything because you also, of course, drive a car,
right?
But that's not the drive that you were talking about,
right? Well, we can
go either way.
Yeah, we can also talk about all the cars you can drive. There's multi uses for this name, so we like it.
Yes. Driven by Subaru, brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. All right, this morning you came in and you said, Mike, there's a chip shortage when it comes to IT and electronic chips. And that's changing the whole car industry and auto industry is up in arms right now. What? Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And talking to some friends and customers over the past few days, I realized that a lot of people have no idea what's happening, but it is an unprecedented time in the auto industry.
And let me interrupt by saying what really blew me away is that you're telling me that used cars right now, in many cases, are being sold for more money than new cars.
Correct. Yes.
And so that's the story right there. So I kind of didn't lead with the headline. So the headline is that used cars are more valuable than new cars. That makes no sense. How does that happen?
Yeah, so you kind of led with the explanation, which is that we're going through this chip shortage, which everyone's like, what's a chip? What is that? So, all of our cars right now are just technology on wheels. There's so many amazing advances in technology with safety features, with, just even your radio and things like that. And these little microchips are what power that. And starting with the pandemic, there were some supply chain shortages, and then it just has compounded over the past year and gotten worse and worse to where it's a global issue. It's not just here, but it's to the point now where there's a massive shortage. So automakers are having to stop producing new cars. And as we run out of new cars, used cars are now becoming more valuable than ever.
So as we're doing this program right now, this podcast in mid to late April of 2021, did you tell me earlier that Subaru right now has stopped producing new cars?
Correct. We're shut down in our plant in Japan and in Indiana here in the United States. So we are not making new cars right now. So we're looking at, every day we go and say, when are we going to sell out of these? Or we're kind of like looking at our trajectory of when are we going to run out? And every single day that drives up the value of used cars even more.
Wow. So, and it's not just Subaru, as you say, it's across the board for all makes and models.
Yes, it's everybody. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is, if you were in the market or thinking of coming to market soon, that timeline should probably be escalated because we all know how economics works. As supply goes down and demand is up, prices are going to go up too. So right now it's a sweet spot where if you have a trade-in, your car is going to be worth more than it ever has been before. And new car prices haven't really gone up just yet. They're starting to trend there. So it's kind of this perfect time where you can get the most money for your trade-in at probably still a very aggressive new car price before we all start to go, oh, dang, we need to raise these prices up as we run out of cars. So it's kind of like the perfect time to come in and get a new car anywhere, not just Subaru, but, I am partial to Subaru.
Right.
Interest rates are low too.
And interest rates are low. So, okay, lots of reasons to buy a car, but lots of reasons also to sell maybe a car that you've been sitting on for a while that you're just not driving anymore.
Right. Yeah. Even if you weren't in the market for a new car, historically, if you've got a car kind of sitting around that you're not driving, a lot of times it's like, oh, I'll give that to my nephew, or, sell it to my neighbor for cheap, or I'll private sell it online. But right now you could get a lot more money if you just kind of called on a couple of, auto dealers. You'd be surprised how much money people are willing to pay for a used car right now.
And if you have a used car that you want to go ahead and sell to a dealer, in your case, it doesn't have to be a Subaru. Most dealerships will take any car right now they can get their hands on.
Yes, we'll take anything right now, and it's like that everywhere. It's crazy. I was telling you when we got here, I've been watching at the auctions, the auto auctions. Used cars are selling at a wholesale value for thousands of dollars more than their counterpart new car. It's kind of like we're looking at it every day going, what is happening? I mean, it's completely unprecedented, but it's a great time for the consumer.
Has there ever been anything like this before?
Not that I've seen. I mean, I've been doing this for 15, 16 years now, and I've got, really good people around me who have been doing it longer than I've been alive, and they're telling me I've never seen anything like it. So, I guess this is been 13 months of I've never seen anything like this in general in the world, and it just keeps going.
Based on the number of cars that you normally sell every month and based on the inventory you have now, I mean, how many new cars do you still have in stock? And do you feel like, okay, if they don't start manufacturing new cars, we could be out in 1 month, we could be out in 3 months? I mean,
yeah, we're looking at that every day. It's truly a conversation that I have with Steve, who was here with us last time. We talk every single day about how many we have on the ground, how many we have coming to us, how many are supposed to be produced. We hope they still do become produced. They're in our pipeline, and see when we're going to run out. And we're thinking everybody at Subaru of Gwinnett's going to be taking a vacation in mid-June at this point, because we don't know what we're going to do, which again is why we need used cars, because that's going to be what keeps us open while we start to dwindle in supply on new cars.
So if you need a new car and you were thinking, okay, my son's graduating from school in about 3 months, I'll get him a car then, you might want to fasten that timeline a little bit.
Yeah. We historically see a lot of sales in late May because of graduations, and then people moving into summer, maybe getting a new van or a new SUV for that family road trip across the summer. We do a lot over your May, June, July, August months. I certainly would encourage anyone who's thinking about buying a car during that time frame to maybe move their timeline up if possible. And like Taylor said, the interest rates are really great right now. We've got 0% on most of our 2020 models and 2021 models. So
Jennifer, this is not a sales ploy.
No.
This is really happening.
I'm educating consumers. And like I said, if you're not in the market for a Subaru, this is true. If you're looking for a Honda or Toyota or a Ford, GMC, I mean, it's domestic, it's imports, it's a global situation. So, again, like we love Subaru here, obviously. I'm biased. But at the same time, we thought this would be just a really good kind of like educational piece, right? Because in talking to family and friends, they're telling me, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And, they're like, I could get a better deal now than ever. And it's true all the way around.
Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Do we know when this chip shortage will come to an end?
I've been reading a bunch of news articles, and all of this you guys can Google and see. It's all over. I was reading one on Fox Business that was published yesterday. Motor Trend has articles, Automotive News. They're out there. There's different models and projections, but a lot of people are saying this is going to take us into 2022. Subaru has a little bit more of a positive outlook on it. We're hoping that by the fall, things will normalize, but we're going to be living with this situation for at least the next, 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so the new car inventory is dwindling.
Right.
Used cars are worth more now than ever.
Correct.
Great time to sell them.
Right.
And you were telling me that also, when you think of a car, it's a depreciating asset.
Correct.
Typically, it loses value the second you drive it off the lot.
Yep.
You're telling me the third positive or big thing that's happening right now is that cars are not depreciating in value. There are cars that people a couple months ago may have been upside down, and now they're in the positive. Explain all that.
Yeah. So I'll use my girlfriend Lauren as an example. She's been leasing a Subaru Ascent for the past 2 years. She's got a 2019 Ascent, and about December, she'd been in her lease about 2 years, and she reached out to me itching for a new car because she really loves that brown leather interior in my Ascent, and hers has black. And she was like, is it time for me? Maybe, am I in a good position yet to trade out of it? And I looked at it, and she was, maybe about $2,000 upside down at that point in time in late December. And I said, not yet. You still got a year left, so maybe we'll hold off and look at this closer to time when your lease comes up. And kind of a light bulb with all of this going on yesterday. In fact, I thought, let me take a look at her car and see if she's maybe at a break-even point. Maybe it's worth $2,000 more than it was in December. And I was shocked to find that it's worth about $6,000 more than it was in December. And she went from a place of having some negative equity and it not making any sense to now she has $4,000 of positive equity that she can put towards a new lease, that now she's actually going up to the top of the line touring model with all the things she wanted, and her payments staying the same. So she's winning all the way around, and she's able to get one of these cars before they're gone, because I've only got like 5 left. So
you have 5 new cars on the lot.
5 cents, the kind that, yeah, okay. The kind that she wants. I only have 5 of them, and so that's what kind of put me in my head is if I'm going to help her out, this is my chance. And I reached out to her, and she's like, "No way! I had no idea this was happening." I said, "Yeah, I know it's crazy to think something that's typically a depreciating asset is actually appreciating in value," and that's why I was saying it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's what's happening.
Wow. So lots going on right now in your world.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, in the digital marketing world.
Yes.
Anything going on there?
Well, with COVID and everything, we have had to shift to do more things online. We do have digital retailing tools on our website, so you can go in and work your deal, value your trade, fill out finance paperwork. You can basically do everything online.
You really can.
You don't have to go to the dealership at all.
I mean, it's helpful. I remember back in 2014, 2013 when I bought my car. I was working at the dealership, and granted, there wasn't all of the tools on the website, but I just texted Jen and I was like, "Hey, I want this car," and she got me the paperwork. I came in, signed it, and I left with my car. So you haven't had to go to the dealership for a long time.
Yeah.
If you know what you want, it can be done very quickly. So with digital retailing, it's pretty easy now. And most customers, they're very educated because it's very easy to go online and research different models, different dealerships within your vicinity. So with Subaru of Gwinnett, we have the tools on the website and everything that Jen has said. You want to come to Subaru of Gwinnett.
You can start online to make it easier, and then once you get there, sometimes people do want to narrow it down between a Forester and Outback or whatever. But if you start the process online, it definitely saves you time. Yeah, and I think one thing COVID has given us is we realize how easy it is to make things less complicated and save ourselves some time. Do some things in advance and then kind of just have it work out really quickly.
Yeah.
Now, for those out there that want to sell a car, because you need cars right now.
Oh, yes.
You need cars. That's something they can't do online per se because you got to see the car.
Yeah,
so
of
they
course.
need to bring it in. So walk me through the process. If I have a car that I'm sitting on, it's now's a great time to sell because of the demand. I bring it to you. How does that process work?
Sure. So you don't have to have an appointment. You can just bring it in during our business hours, which is 9 to 6 Monday through Saturday for sales. You could also start the process online where you submit the information and we can give you a rough idea. But truly, to get the best estimate is to let us see the car. But we'll come in and we'll check the exterior condition, interior condition, the tires, things, just, your basic things. And we'll be able to tell you what we can offer you, and we can cut a check on spot. So
I got you. So you could actually drive in with the car and then leave with a check in hand.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And paperwork, they need to have the title, of course.
Yes. Or, some people, if they still have a lien, but they're positive we can pay that off. You wouldn't get the check right away, but we can make anything work. One thing I know about the people in the car business is we're problem solvers, and we can figure out a way to make anything work out somehow, some way. So the important part is getting to us, bringing us your car, and from there we can make it happen.
That's a good point because I didn't even think about that. So if the car's not even fully paid off,
correct,
you can still bring it.
Yeah, especially if you've got positive equity, we'd pay off the car for you, and then you'd get the balance of the positive. So yeah, and we do that all the time too with trades as well.
Okay. So cars which typically depreciate in value, you're actually making money now on your used cars.
Yeah.
Used cars are becoming more valuable than new cars. Mind blown.
Right. It's pretty crazy.
And you said you've never seen this in your years in the business, and a lot of folks have been in the business even longer than you. They've never seen anything as well.
No, yeah, we're trying to predict, like, when is this going to stop? When is it going to change? And it's just truly unpredictable every single day. Like cars that we're selling for, a high price Monday, they sold for even more Tuesday, and then they sold for even more on Wednesday. And we're just watching this a lot of times with our mouths almost to the floor, because it's unpredictable.
It's almost like the person bringing in the car now is the sales. You typically go buy a new car and you're negotiating with the sales manager trying to get them to come down.
Right.
And now you're coming in with your car and we're trying to sell it to you.
Well,
and
it's a seller's market.
We're trying to get you to come
It's
up
just like real
on the
estate.
price.
Right, and that's kind of what I was saying is like this. I'm not here to pitch, come buy a car. It's more of an education standpoint for the consumer of like, hey, you might have something super valuable sitting in your driveway or your garage right now.
And
So-
you've been wanting to get around to getting rid of it, but now is the time.
Right.
Let's say I have a car and it's got some mechanical issues and things like that, and you'll still look at it.
Of course, yeah. We'll look at anything.
Because you guys know how to fix cars.
We do.
You're
We
good at
we
that.
have a whole service department that can do those things.
You have a great service department.
We do.
For those that would like to check it out and maybe take you up on this, let everybody know where Subaru of Gwinnett is located.
Yeah, we're at 2920 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. And then, of course, you can always reach us through our website, which is www.subaruofgwinnett.com. Or you could call into the dealership, 678-475-3500.
And you said, again, you don't need to set an appointment. Just come. Just
Right.
bring the car, or if you're even looking for, whether you're buying or selling, just come on over.
Right, yeah. You're welcome
And
anytime.
Your days and hours again.
Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6 for our sales department.
Work for sales. Are you open at all Sundays?
No, we're super fortunate that our owner.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he really wants us to have a
Family time.
day with our family. And the thing about being in the auto industry is that most of us work entirely on commission. So if you're supposed to have a Thursday off, that's supposed to be my day off, but a customer wants to come in, you're going to come in, And so by being completely closed on Sundays, he knows that we're guaranteed to have some family time, and he feels like that's really important. And it's one of the great things about working for our company.
That's why there's so many folks that have been there for so long.
Absolutely, yes.
Once they start at Subaru of Gwinnett, they never leave.
Right. I mean,
It's like a cult.
It is.
It's like a cult.
Or
A good
if
cult.
A family.
Once you drink that Subaru Kool-Aid.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of people who work for us now that did work other places within the industry, and they're like, "This is unheard of. This environment is so great." And
I left and came back. I graduated college, got a job somewhere else, and was like, I had it better.
You didn't realize how good it was.
that does happen. Sometimes, anybody who thinks the grass is greener tends to be like, wasn't that green? Can I come back?
There you go. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us, and Taylor as well. Taylor, for the social media, give all the handles and
Okay.
things where people can find out. For those that want to follow Subaru of Gwinnett.
So Instagram is Subaru of Gwinnett, and for Twitter, Subaru ATL, and Facebook, you can find us at Subaru of Gwinnett.
Great. Sounds good. Taylor Spicuzzi. Taylor Spicuzzi, the digital.
Spacusa. You're
I'll try it
confusing
again.
him with Spicoli.
No, I joked I was going to call you Spicoli. Taylor Spicuzza with the digital sales manager, Jennifer Kessler. No, it's Jennifer Kessler.
I know you know me by this point.
I know. I can't. You're unforgettable.
Oh, Mike,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're the as much as Steve Kendrick would like to be the face of the organization, you're the face of the
I mean, he
organization.
tries. We'll give him that. No, I'm just kidding.
And of course, Steve. We all love Steve and knowing
Of
him.
course.
He wants to push you up front because he wants you to be the face of the organization.
He does a really great job of supporting all of his people. I feel very fortunate to work for someone who does really want to let his people shine. He's fantastic about that. So yes, I can't give him too much grief.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Again, thanks to Jennifer and Taylor. Thanks to you, our listeners. A reminder, you can also follow Business Radio X on social media. It's at Gwinnett Radio X. We're on all the major platforms. Thank you, Amanda, for producing. Till next time, I'm Mike, and we'll see you next time here on Driven by Subaru, brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett.